claims the government is on the cusp of spending $4.5 billion to buy 29 American-made Apache gunship helicopters. The deal, though, would cost hundreds of highly skilled workers their jobs, many in Queensland. Let's go live to our senior political reporter, Jonathan Lee, in Canberra now. Jono, good morning to you. So can you take us through it?
Yeah, good morning to you, Pete. This surrounds the deal by the Australian government to purchase the European-made Tiger attack helicopter in 2001 for $1.1 billion. We can bring them up on the screen and show you straight away. Now, they're manufactured and assembled here in Queensland. The chopper, though, was plagued with problems to begin, much like our submarine fleet. Now, this graphic here shows the hours it flew at the bottom compared to where Defence wanted it to be, and we can see how it has improved. However, the performance improved to the extent that the commander in charge of them said in 2018, our Tigers now deliver reliability to the extent that they're the envy of the world. Proven reliability, proven performance. The Tigers still have 3/4 of their lifespan left in them. They could stay in service until 2040. Now, Defence contractor Airbus has identified $3.5 billion in savings if Australia keeps them. Now, Sky News understands a recommendation will soon be taken to the powerful National Security Committee to retire them years earlier and replace them with 29 US-made Apache gunships for $4.5 billion. Now, this will sidetrack a proposed tender process, and that has angered the influential defence industry and sparked an international row. Now, we can show you this letter. Sky News has obtained this letter signed by Germany, France and Spain, whose defence forces used the Tiger choppers, asking Australia not to replace them for the American-made Apaches. The letter to the Australian Prime Minister says the Tiger is a sophisticated and highly effective combat system. It has been fully operated in our armed forces for several years. We encourage the retention of the Tiger. Now, Sky News has also seen the letter that the Defence Minister, Linda Reynolds, wrote back to them, saying a decision would be made later this year, and that's years ahead of schedule. Those involved in the defence industry believe a deal was done by our ministers during a recent Osman visit to the United States. There's also talk our government has begun sourcing trained positions for our pilots at Fort Rucker in Alabama. Now, critics of the Apache say there are significant questions spending $4.5 billion on the chopper. They list some of those disadvantages. We'll bring them up. They say it has a steel frame, unlike the Tiger's carbon fibre frame, and would rust in Australia's maritime conditions. It's too big for the current hangars. It uses more fuel. It would be built and maintained in America by Americans, and it would also cost hundreds of Australians their jobs. Many of those jobs are based in Queensland, Pete. Not surprisingly, the opposition wants answers to these questions.
The government needs to be transparent about the future of the attack helicopters. We cannot afford to see another blowout in time and in cost around a critical platform for the Australian Defence Force. And the attack helicopters are fundamental to the future of the Australian Army. The government needs to assure us that it's not about to pour billions of dollars down the drain.
Now, Pete, Sky News asked the government a number of specific questions about plans for the Tiger and the Apache. The government avoided answering a number of those questions, instead issuing a statement that says, amongst other things, no procurement pathway has been decided at this point in time. But, Pete, the Australian government doesn't own the intellectual property when it comes to the Tiger helicopter, which means if it chooses to remove them from service, it can't even sell them to another country.